Hi there, welcome to my channel. This is Living to Learn. I appreciate you taking out the time to watch this video today. I hope that you'll be able to take something away from it that's going to be helpful. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. That's probably one of the most supportive things that you can do for me. So I would appreciate that. Leave some comments, hit that like button, notification bell. You know, all the good stuff, right? Give me some suggestions in those comments. I still haven't really gotten any suggestions for like future topics on videos. Not that you have to, but hey, if there's something you want to hear me talk about, or you're like, what is, Living to Learn? What is that Live to Learn coaching? Think about this. If you want to know what I think about it, let me know. You can also send me a message on Instagram. Again, you go in the descriptions of my videos, you're going to find my Instagram handle at Live to Learn Coaching. You can send me a direct message there if you want to communicate with me, or if perhaps you or someone you know is considering hiring a life coach, or you have been considering it. Send me a message. We'll go from there. Also, you can donate to this channel. Those of you that have donated financially to my channel, I do appreciate that. It helps out a lot. It's not something that I really harp on because I'm not here to ask you for money, but consider the fact that this does take preparation, does take time, and it does take a lot of effort to be consistent. And so financial donations are always welcomed, and they do help. But anyway, let's get into today's video. I wanted to continue the theme of what I talked about yesterday, or this last video. I want to kind of keep that theme going, and it's really on the theme of change and what are some of the things that we experience, or what can we expect, and what will be helpful to us in our pursuit of change. Yesterday I talked about, or this last video I talked about embracing solitude, right? Just kind of touching on the aspect of the loneliness and the just aloneness of pursuing change, how this can be a lonely journey. Not all the time, right? It's not always going to be lonely. Last week I talked about having a support system, and believe me, a support system is critical, I think, if we're going to go far. But there will be a good stretch of this experience in solitude. And I want to talk today about finding strength in vulnerability. This also has to deal with change and moving down that road of change. What is it to find strength? What does that mean to find strength in vulnerability? First of all, for most of us, you know what? Let me scratch that. I would say for a good majority of people, vulnerability is not a good word. Because to be vulnerable means to open yourself up. And when you open yourself up, your defenses are down. Now, we know what can happen when our defenses are down. We can be hurt. We can be attacked. You know, my father, somebody I highly respect and love and appreciate, one of my great influences, one of my mentors in life, he pastored a church for 20 years. And one of the things he told me of the multiple numerous gems that my dad has given me over my lifetime, he said, son, you got to protect your vulnerability. Why did he tell me that? Because to be vulnerable is one of the most difficult things that we can do. But we must find strength in that vulnerability if we're going to change. What do I mean by that? What's the power of vulnerability in the process of change? To be vulnerable is to be 100% wholly you. You yourself as you are, just you. That openness. Most of us walk around on a day-to-day basis with some sort of defense mechanism up, covering the real us to an extent. But if we're going to change, if we're going to get better, if we're going to become a better version of ourselves, we've got to find strength in vulnerability. Like my father said, you've got to protect that vulnerability. Why did he say that? Well, in a position like the one that he was in, where you're dealing with people all the time, you've heard people say, I'm not a people person. I wouldn't mind doing this if it wasn't for the people. Why? Because we are so different. And some people we click with, some people we don't. Their perspective, their worldview rubs us the wrong way. And so what happens is it can create this kind of irritation, and it kind of can create this automatic response which inhibits our vulnerability. And while that might keep us from being taken advantage of, that might keep us from being hurt, it steals from us as well. Because to embrace our vulnerability, to find strength in our vulnerability, it brings us that much closer to standing on a firm foundation of being ourselves, accepting ourselves as we are. So I encourage us in this journey of change to embrace our vulnerabilities. How do we do that? Well, here's a couple of different things that we can do. The first thing that will teach us to embrace this vulnerability is to seek help. Now, I know a lot of us don't like to ask for help. I know that as a life coach, a lot of people are not going to ask for help. But this is one of the best ways that we can embrace our vulnerability, by admitting there's something I can't figure out. There's something I can't get to the bottom of. I need help. Seeking support from others. I talked about the importance of a support system. I also talked about embracing the solitude of this change journey, because it is going to be a lonely road. And it is for most of us. And for, I would say, a good amount of time. Me, myself, and I, that's it. But there is an opportunity to seek support from others. And that is going to not only give us the ability to find strength in our vulnerability, but it's going to allow us to embrace that. So seek help, seek support from others. I just want to share with you my personal experience from embracing and finding strength in vulnerability. Now, here's the thing. I'm not an expert on it. I haven't, achieved this, I've got this strength and vulnerability. I'm at this higher level. I'm not. I'm a human being just like you. I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to get stepped on. I don't want to get taken advantage of. No one wants to do that. I don't want to be a doormat. But I'll tell you what. I taught a class not that long ago, a couple years back. I had an opportunity to take on a role as an adjunct professor, and I taught an introductory course on leadership. And in reading this leadership book and in lecturing out of the book, right? I don't know how well I did. You'd have to ask some of my former students. But in lecturing out of this book, I learned something. There was a chapter. The chapter was about transformational leadership. And transformational leadership, there are two main qualities when it comes to a transformational leader. And the two qualities were this: empathy and transparency. And you cannot achieve those without some level of vulnerability. So to accept, to embrace, and to find strength in our vulnerability makes us excellent, causes us to be great. I just wanted to put that out there so that you could see vulnerability not as something to be avoided, but as something to be embraced and to be utilized as this superpower, as this super, nutrient, this super vitamin, whatever it is. And it's going to separate us from the rest. And when we are separated from the rest, it's easier for us to see down that road as we pursue change. It's easier for us to take one step forward, one foot in front of the next. All this is just to encourage us and to help us on this journey of change. I'm on one. I hope that you're on one as well. Not because I don't like you for who you are, not because you're not good enough, but because you are good enough and you deserve to see the best version of yourself, just like I do. So remember, if we're going to embrace our vulnerability, a couple of things we can do. We can seek help from others. We can seek support from others. It's going to be difficult. For some of us, that's going to be the hardest part. Work on it. I'll work on it as well. Remember, this is a powerful tool in our process of change. I just wanted to share that with you today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for taking the time out to watch. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, please subscribe. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And I'd love for you to share these videos if you think they're helpful, you think there's someone out there that could benefit from hearing what this guy has to say about certain things. Hey, share away. All right. Thanks so much for your time. Have a great day.